BJ Mafia was popping. So the Jacksonville Jaguars lose today to the Kansas City Chiefs at home in week 2, 17-9. Doug Peterson and this Jaguars team, who had this game marked on their calendar since the schedule had came out. It was the Jaguars home opener. The Jaguars had faced the Chiefs twice last season, and the Jaguars lost in the divisional round where they gave the Kansas City Chiefs, the eventual Super Bowl champions, everything that they had in that divisional round. They had this game marked on their calendar, and they go out there and they lay a goose egg, and they lose this game 17-9. They don't even punch the ball into the end zone. The Jaguars offense is supposed to be the most potent and the most explosive part about this team. They're supposed to have one of the most high-powered offenses in the game of football, and they laid an absolute goose egg out there. Before I really dive deep into the Jaguars and I really start talking about the Chiefs, let me just say this first and foremost. To Chiefs fans, to Jaguar fans, and just to fans of football, if I would have told you going into this matchup, without knowing any other context, that the Kansas City Chiefs would have 3 turnovers, 12 penalties for 94 yards, and they would have gone 4 of 13 on third down conversions, I'm sure you would have told me, oh yeah, Jacksonville's going to take advantage of that at home, and they're going to be putting points up on the board. Jacksonville would win that game, and they would probably win that game pretty comfortably, knowing exactly what I just told you. Complete opposite of it. The Jaguars go into the halftime down 7-6, and then the Chiefs come out and they just basically take control of the entire second half. The offense for the Jaguars was completely lethargic. But like I said, before I start venting and ranting and kind of going on about this game, let me just say I've got a lot of respect for the Kansas City Chiefs, for the Kansas City Chiefs fans, and everything that they've done organically to build this franchise and to build this miniature dynasty that they've been in, where Patrick Mahomes is a 2-time MVP, 2-time Super Bowl MVP. This team has repeatedly been to the AFC Championship game. This team defies all odds. They have a future Hall of Fame quarterback and the best player in football, a future Hall of Fame tight end, a future Hall of Fame head coach in Andy Reid. I've got nothing but the utmost respect for the Kansas City Chiefs, right? There's a couple teams out there in the NFL I'm not a big fan of. There's a couple quarterbacks out there I'm not a big fan of. But the Chiefs is definitely a team I've got a lot of admiration and a lot of respect for. And I mean that respectfully. Even though I picked the Jags to win this game at home with everything that I've discussed, I've got a lot of respect and I've got a lot of admiration, like I've said, for the Kansas City Chiefs, man. Patrick Mahomes, when it matters the most, this guy's the most clutch quarterback in the game of football. He put on a pretty good performance today, even though it maybe wasn't Patrick Mahomes-esque numbers. Mahomes did his thing. 29 of 41 for 305 yards, 2 touchdowns to 1 interception. Isaiah Pacheco, this guy stays killing the Jaguars. 12 carries for 70 yards. Sky Moore had that deep ball at the very end of the game, that 54-yard catch that sealed the deal. Sky Moore had 3 catches for 70 yards. Justin Watson, 3 catches for 62 yards. Noah Gray, 3 catches for 38 yards. Kadarius Toney burned the Jaguars in the first half, 5 receptions for 35 yards. And then defensively, for the Kansas City Chiefs, they've played 2 very good offenses in back-to-back weeks with the Detroit Lions and the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they did their thing. Defensively, they did it without Chris Jones in week 1. They limited the Detroit Lions offense to 14 points, and now they limit the Jacksonville Jaguars offense to 9 points. Got to give a lot of credit to KC's defense and what they were able to do to disrupt Trevor Lawrence and this offense, especially with Chris Jones coming back into the mix. He had a good game. George Karlaftis had a good game. L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie had good games. And even though there was some PI penalties on the Chiefs secondary, overall, this defense did a hell of a job. If you would have told me Jacksonville would not score a single touchdown in this game, I would have told you you're crazy. And the Kansas City Chiefs defense did that. Just got to give a lot of respect, and I got to show my words of validation, I guess, to the Kansas City Chiefs, that fan base and that organization. Now let me talk about the Jaguars. First of all, let me talk about the Jaguars offense. I was pissed watching that game. Yes, I know Luke Fortner and Brandon Scherf were dealing with ankle injuries. They had been limited in practice all week, but that offensive line got torn up. Chris Jones and George Karlaftis and that entire front 7 did their thing against our offensive line. Trevor Lawrence really did not look like, for a majority of the game, he did not have enough time in the pocket to go ahead and actually make his reads and do well. The interior of the offensive line did not do their job. Anton Harrison had a couple of plays where he kind of got beat off the edge. Honestly, at this point, I can't wait for Cam Robinson to slide back to left tackle, coming back off his suspension, and Walker Little to move back into the inside. Topic for another day. Offensive line didn't play great. You know what else wasn't good? Press Taylor's offensive play callings. Now, the Jaguars did put up 31 points in week 1, but we all said The offensive play calling was extremely suspect. Press Taylor, let's see what you're going to do in week 2. Horrible. Downright horrible. Press Taylor, what the hell are you doing? The Jaguars had their opportunities in the red zone, and the Jaguars did not convert. I think they went 0 of 6 or 0 for 7 in the red zone, right? Zay Jones had 2 opportunities, one in the first, one in the second half, where he could have potentially had a touchdown. It didn't work out. Same thing for Calvin Ridley. 2 opportunities in the red zone where he caught the ball, but he was out of bounds. Didn't work out. We have an opportunity in the red zone, and we don't run the ball with Tank Bigsby or Travis Etienne not one time towards the end of the game. You have backs that you've invested early round picks in, and a guy in Travis Etienne who we trust, and Tank Bigsby who is a power back, but it is only his second game. Run the damn ball. Offensive play calling. What are we doing running a Christian Kirk, throw across the other side of the field at the 50-yard line in that position? What are we doing? I could go on, and once I watch the film tomorrow, I'm going to have a much better judgment of what's going on. Press Taylor, the offensive play calling is horrendous. Something needs to change there. Trevor Lawrence really didn't look the part, and he looked extremely frustrated today and really rattled. Yeah, Calvin Ridley had a couple of opportunities where the ball didn't really go his way. Christian Kirk had a big bounce back game. He played really good, but Trevor Lawrence looked visibly frustrated, and rightfully so. The Jaguars are at home. The bank is supposed to be rocking and electric, and we're supposed to be putting points on the board, man. That's what we're supposed to be doing, and Trevor Lawrence isn't getting the job done. And I'm not really putting this blame on him. I'm just saying for the sake of argument that Trevor Lawrence did not look the part today. 22 of 41, 216 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, had a quarterback rating of a 68.8. Rushing the ball with Travis Etienne 12 times is not going to cut it, even with the offensive line not playing all too well. That's just not going to cut it. And like I said, Christian Kirk had a hell of a bounce back game, 11 receptions, 110 yards. Evan Ingram, 6 catches for 57 yards. Calvin Ridley, 2 catches for 32 yards. It's just not going to cut it. It really isn't. The offensive play calling was just horrendous. The offensive execution, the game plan, whatever it was not good. And like I said, I give a lot of credit to the Kansas City Chiefs defense and what they were able to present to the Jaguars offense. They had us rattled all afternoon. It just wasn't good enough. Defensively for the Jaguars, round of applause. Absolute round of applause. I know we didn't stop Sky Moore and Patrick Mahomes and company on offense at the end of the game when that essentially sealed the deal on that 54-yard reception. I couldn't care less, honestly. If you would have told me the Jaguars defense would have created, 2 turnovers because one was on special teams, but nonetheless, the Jaguars had 3 turnovers created, and the Jaguars offense limited Patrick Mahomes to 17 points, I would say we should win that game. We should be able to score at minimum 24 points a game with this offensive system and this offensive, personnel that we have around Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson, and it's not good enough. Josh Allen had a hell of a game prior to him going out with his injury, and obviously we hope everything's okay with Josh Allen moving forward. Trayvon Walker had a couple of moments, but for the most part, it looked like he kind of got stuffed on a couple of plays, especially a couple of the stunt routes. Andre Sisco, hell of a game. Rayshawn Jenkins, great job tackling. Trey Herndon, while he gave up the deep ball, he made up for it a little bit later on with some 2 nice plays, getting some deflections on the passes. Overall, the defense, they did their job. I'm extremely excited about what this defense has done in the first 2 weeks of the season. The offensive play calling, everyone thought, including myself, this offense needs to be better. This offense is going to be better. This offense is going to be potent, explosive, dynamic, and prolific. And what do we get? 9 points. We get 9 points out of it. It is not good enough. I don't know how many times I have to say it. This game pissed me off to my extent. And here's another reason why. Because I've talked about I've talked about offense, I've talked about defense, special teams, whatever. Brandon McManus does his job. Good for him. Logan Cook, good for him. Good for those guys. And I'm happy for them. Here's where I get pissed off with this game. It's not necessarily the Jaguars losing the game in the fashion in which they did. We could have had a shootout and we could have lost this game, 24-27 at the very end of the game and Patrick Mahomes goes down on us. I didn't care about that. I care about the fact that the Jaguars and us Jaguar fans have this mental stigma that we need to get out of our head and this burden we need to get off of our head and our shoulders. Like, we need to know that we're capable of dethroning the Kansas City Chiefs because they've earned that placement on that pedestal as the epitome of what a great NFL team and a young dynasty looks like. They're on that pedestal, they're on that level. We need to know, as a team that is up and coming, we're capable of beating them. It didn't happen last year twice in Arrowhead. I said, you know what? This is a new year. We know their tendencies. We're playing at home. We've got Calvin Ridley. This is our time to beat them. This is our time to prove to the Jaguars and to us Jaguar fans, we can go out there and we can dethrone the Kings. We can take them down. But now, even if hypothetically speaking, I said this on Twitter, if the Jaguars were to finish this season 14-3, 13-4, we go into the postseason as the #1 seed, we get a first round bye. Honestly, as great as that is, I'm still gonna have this burden in my head. What about when we play Kansas City in the playoffs? Clearly we've proven we can't beat them. Clearly Doug Peterson has proven he cannot beat Andy Reid in the 4 attempts that he's had to play Andy Reid in his career as a head coach. And I'm not blaming Doug Peterson. I'm not blaming Trevor Lawrence. I'm saying we win as a team, we lose as a team. It's not good enough. I want to know, you Jaguar fans want to know, we can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. We can take down the Giants. And we haven't proven that yet. I don't care about the regular season record at this point. Yes, let's go win the division. Yes, it would be great to go win the conference, and I still think we have a very good chance of winning the conference. You had an opportunity to put a 2.5 game lead on yourself in the conference and to prove you could beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and we couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. We're healthy. We had an opportunity. Travis Kelce comes back off of a hyperextended knee. Chris Jones comes back and looks dominant in his first game back, and we couldn't do it. The rest of the regular season to me is just an evaluation period of what the hell we're gonna do in the postseason. That's all I care about at this point. I want to see continued success. I want to see the Jaguars continuously get better offensively, defensively, on special teams, making the right decisions at the right times with clock management. Everything you can list off with the game of football. I want to see us get better, and rightfully so. But I'm always going to have that in the back of my head, and as you should, are we going to be able to beat the Kansas City Chiefs when it comes down to it, at home or in the postseason, on the road at Arrowhead? And I don't like our chances at Arrowhead, to be completely frank with you. If we can't do it at home, what makes you think we can do it at Arrowhead? And we're capable of doing it, but they haven't shown that to me. They haven't earned that from me yet. Because this is a different Jaguars team. We're not settling to make the playoffs anymore. We believe we can go out there and compete with the best, and clearly we had our opportunities today and we did not capitalize, and we didn't. Now I'm done venting about the Jaguars. I just want to kind of wrap up and end this video by saying, man, I still love this team. I still love you guys, and I will still ride or die with my team to the very end. I am never going to be a fair weather fan. I'm always going to believe in my team, and I'm always going to be Duval till I die. Always. 24/7, 365, that's never going to change. Love my Jags, love this team, love this city, love this fan base. I love y'all, and I got to give a lot of respect to the Kansas City Chiefs, man. Hell of a game, despite everything going really not great for them. They found a way, and that's what great teams do. They find a way to win despite the game being ugly. Doesn't matter how you do it, they found a way to win it. Got to give props to the Kansas City Chiefs fans. Jaguar fans, I know you guys are just as pissed off as me, but let's try to be somewhat respectful in the comments. But please vent to me in the comments. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, because like I said, we're all going through it. We're all feeling the emotions, and yeah, we're not going to have a victory Monday tomorrow, but you know what? It's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. Let's just move on to week 3 now. So what? Now what? Jags going to take on who do we play next weekend? The Houston Texans at home. Let's go ahead. Let's go 2-0 in the division, and let's just find a way to win this game. Jags fans, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. Wish you guys nothing but the best moving forward, unless you played the Jaguars this season. Jags fans, that's it for this video. Thank you guys again for sticking around throughout the whole video. Brett James, aka BJ. I'm out, y'all. Go Jags, baby. Peace.